Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Good morning to you. Hello and welcome back to the channel, especially the Shquad. You guys know who you are. Today you're going to join me for a bit of a Q&A, but first, it's a beautiful morning. I'm in southern Spain. I've been down here with Audi Sport for the launch of the new RS4 Vantage, one of which is just up there on the steps outside the beautiful Grand Hotel Miramar here in Malaga on the south coast with palm trees, the ocean right there. It is a lovely day. The sun is out. We won't get this back at home in December, and over that way there's a rather nice lineup too. But the primary purpose of today is a bit of a Q&A to run over some things you guys have been asking me in a post I've just made on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, asking things like what's going on with my car collection, what do I think of new models that have just come out, and a few slightly more personal things as well. So let's run through them. I'll also show you down the lineup of all of the RS Avant models that's over there, from the RS2 Avant through to the new RS4, so that's pretty awesome as well. But let's head over and get started. By far and away, the most frequent questions are about a garage update. So the cars that I currently own, have I sold anything without letting you know about it? Quite a few people wondering about the LT, the FF, the GT8, because I haven't shown them too much recently. And then what's happening in the future, the imminent arrival of the GT3, and then further afield, the Ford GT. So let's just start off with a quick run through this. You've seen a lot of the AMG GTR recently. That's the car that I intend to use for just about, well, the main things over the next year. It's a car that is brilliant for all purposes. I'm going to throw an awful lot of miles on it, maybe some modifications in the future as well. Now, soon to arrive will be the Porsche GT3. I think it will be just into the new year before I take delivery and register it as a 2018 car. But again, lots planned with that, many trips to the Nürburgring, so watch that space. I've also still got very much my McLaren 675 LT Spider and my Aston Martin Vantage GT8. But for me, those were very much cars I used for the previous season's events. So now there'll be more private use, so to speak. They'll still appear in videos, of course, and those really form the start for me of a special, I hope, in the future car collection. So those aren't going anywhere in a hurry. I've sold the Aston Martin Vanquish Volante and my Mini Cooper, my old Mini, as you know, but I also do still currently have my Ferrari FF. Well, I was in Dubai, it went off for service and just to get a few warranty things done, but I've still very much got it. It might go at some point. I'd love to get a GTC4 Lusso potentially to replace it, but at the moment I still have the FF. I'll let you know if anything happens on that front. And also over in the UK, I have my Ford Focus RS, but that might at some point morph itself into a Focus RS Edition, the new car with a limited slip diff. So by my reckoning, that means I currently own the McLaren, the Vantage, the FF, the Focus, the AMG GTR, and soon the GT3. Those are all still there. I haven't held any surprises back from you. Further afield, you know I've got a TBR Griffith on order. You also know that I have the Ford GT on order. So the new Ford GT, I'm holding my slot at the moment. I'm certainly not just going to give it up. It's a hugely exciting and very special car, contrary to many people asking me if it's still worth it, even though I'm not really expecting to see my car until potentially 2 more years from now. It's a very, very long wait as part of that order process. But look at that car, look at what it represents, what it stands for, the history, the return to Le Mans. It is something very, very special. So I think that's it on the garage front at the moment. Then let's start thinking about plans for 2018. Tons of requests for, am I going on the Gumball? Am I doing another Fuel Faction event? Will I be at Top Marks Monaco? Am I going to insert just about any country you can think of? And trust me guys, I would love to, but the one thing I can tell you is that this year I traveled far too much. It will be about 85 to 90 flights in total, and I've basically not even been at home that much. Between my now 2 homes, one in London, one in Frankfurt, more on that very shortly as well. And next year, although I'd like to experience new places, potentially get to South America, potentially get to Australia or somewhere, potentially spend more time in the Far East, Hong Kong, Japan, wherever I can go, I'm hoping to travel or be away from home a little bit less. So the content might shift and change slightly based on that. I will of course let you know if I'm able to do meetups, meet and greets in any of the countries or cities that I visit. As always, just follow the social media pages, my Instagram page, and I'll be sure to let you know on there. I'm going to move straight on to your more direct questions and start off in particular with a rather more personal one, something I think a lot of people would like to know more about. So, Breton B311 asked, will you see yourself getting married and having kids in the future? And this connects to a lot of your questions about me going to Frankfurt as well, because part of the reason for doing so is to spend more time with my girlfriend. She is German. We have a lovely time together in London or in Frankfurt or wherever we are, and often she's able to join me on some of these trips and adventures, which is really awesome. Now, I'd love to be able to spend more time together, which is part of the reason to spend a little bit less time out on the road, traveling, flying, and basically being away from home. So although marriage and kids aren't in the next year or two, I am now 30 years old. I was 30 a couple of months ago, which is kind of crazy to still be doing this. So one has to start thinking about the future at some point, right? Who knows where that's going to go? Anyway, the next question I'm going to move on to from Jamie Radley. I think this is quite an interesting one too. Have you reached a point where you just buy cars for the Shmi brand and the passion for the brand comes second? Now, I think the AMG GTR is quite an interesting example to use here, because initially I liked the idea of buying a Mercedes because I thought you guys would be very interested in the content. However, it's gone full circle and I freaking love the car. It is an epic thing to drive. I think for me, I still hugely appreciate these opportunities, the test drives, the cars I'm fortunate enough to own and the content I can create with them along the way. I don't see that going anytime soon, but certainly I won't lie, I do think about the cars that you would like to see more of, which can perhaps tie me on to another question I've seen from just about everyone. Will I buy a Lamborghini anytime soon? Everybody asks all the time, and to be completely honest with you, I don't see myself at this stage buying any of the Aventador or Huracan models, maybe the replacements in due course. The Urus is potentially interesting, the SUV. I'm looking forward to taking a look at that hopefully very soon, so watch this space for a full first look video with the new Urus. Then I'll be able to tell you a lot more about it basically as well. JFFFFF many Fs asked me what's been my best moment of this year, and this is one of these quite interesting questions for me because I was thinking back a little bit quite often recently actually about the various things I've done this year, from earlier in the year going to South Africa for the Maybach Londelay G650, going with Greg B to collect his Huayra BC, driving a Bugatti Chiron, driving Greg's LaFerrari Aperta. The list of highlights for me has just been monumental. I think the things I have done in this year alone could easily be an entire career if you look at it as a list. So I'm going to do a full piece about the year in review, just because I think if I summarized it, it's a little bit mind-boggling. I'm going to have to pinch myself in a very big way over the Christmas holidays to think about everything and come up with a best moment and really just take it all in. What a journey this is. And I really, actually at this moment, I want to say a big thanks to you guys for making this possible, especially to the Shquad, as I try and say at the beginning of my videos, because you guys who watch these videos when they go live, who watch all the way through to the end, who support these adventures, who follow me on the different platforms, whether you watch the videos the minute they're online, whether you watch them later on and catch up, without you guys this wouldn't be possible. And I really and truly mean it when I say a massive thanks to the support for this journey. I could never have predicted that it would happen, and it is just amazing that it has done. It's 1.1 million YouTube subscribers now. I can't even really comprehend it. It's crazy, so thank you. The next one is quite a random one actually. It comes from RE Car Photographer. How well did you do in school? Now, I wouldn't normally talk about school here on YouTube because what's the connection? But it will tie me into the next question as well. And back at school, as you can probably tell from the statistics and the numbers that I reel off in these videos when I'm talking about cars like the new RS4 Avant, I was quite a nerd at school. I used to work pretty hard. I did maths, further maths, IT, computing, physics, all of those kind of subjects. Worked hard, got good grades, which set me up a little bit more for the future, and I think is a part of my passion as well for looking at patterns, numbers, calculating things, and that goes into planning these road trips and adventures. It all oddly ties in together. I don't actually have a degree, if that's of interest to any of you out there. I chased my passions and went straight into the world of work, and I've done a number of different careers to date. I've talked a bit about them in some previous Q&As, but like I said, the next question that comes out of this comes from Matt Has Found Hat. Where would you be without YouTube? And that is a fascinating discussion because I have absolutely no idea. I left school to be a ski instructor. I came back to the UK to work in finance in the city of London. Then I went from there to, well, actually even before that, I had run a small retail shop. I had opened a shop to sell electronics. So my career paths have dotted around everywhere, and all I know is that I would have chased something I loved, something I really enjoyed doing, because the number one thing to me is that you wake up and you enjoy what you're going to be doing that day. And for me now with cars, however much time it takes to edit videos, to travel, to do all of this, it's my absolute passion, so that always comes first. And I think as much as I might not be able to predict, I'm sure it would be doing something unusual. It wouldn't be something run-of-the-mill, so to speak, because that's just not me. But let's move on to another one, which I think is a relevant question I've seen a few times. This comes from Kaglar_S. Have you invested in cryptocurrency, and what are your thoughts on it? Now, a lot of you probably know about Bitcoin, and quite a few of you, I think that I have played around a lot with Bitcoin. I did a tiny bit back before, but I think that kind of thing is a very volatile, dangerous financial market. Although I've worked in finance, I'm not qualified to give any professional opinion on this, so if you do seek to make investments, do seek out the appropriate professionals. But I think when it comes to Bitcoin, you can just as easily lose an awful lot of money as you can make some money. So please do be careful if you're thinking about that. I haven't made significant money through it, so please don't get any wrong ideas on that front, that it's super easy and that's where the cars come from, for example. I think now would be an appropriate time just to take a little look at the lineup of cars then that we have here, the history of Audi RS model Avant cars, so Avant being Audi's word for estate or station wagon or whatever you'd like to call it, which started back here in 1994 with the RS2 Avant, a car that a lot of people are awfully big fans of. That then moved on in 99-2000-ish to the first RS4 Avant, which featured a biturbo V6 like you now find in the newest car. So although it might be slightly controversial, the RS4 Avant actually started with one of those engines. From there you come on to the third gen, the 2005 RS4 Avant with a naturally aspirated V8. The naturally aspirated V8 continued with the 4.2 in the RS4 Avant from 2012 until you get to the latest model, which you can find all about in my full video, a car that I am very interested in as a potential daily driver option for Germany, following on from the cars in my garage that I was talking about earlier. For example, cool highlight about this, aluminium milling process for these wheels to take out the extra material from inside the spokes, saves 8 kilos across the car, 2 kilos per corner. Nice touch there to make it 80 kilos lighter than the previous generation RS4 Avant. And what I was saying about numbers, I could reel them off all day. The V6 is 31 kilos lighter than the V8. It will go 0 to 62 miles an hour in 4.1 seconds. Top speed is 250 kilometers an hour, 155 miles an hour, or with the optional raised limiter up to 280 k's, which is 174 miles an hour. And you kind of get my point. When it comes to numbers, that's my thing. I like numbers, and I spend a lot of time looking at what you guys, the trends, what videos you're watching, those kind of statistics. I find it really interesting to see in a little bit more detail where the mass numbers are, because I think YouTube algorithms is probably a topic you actually know about. It's been a huge point from a lot of creators in terms of YouTube almost dictating where the traffic comes from and videos getting views in the first day or over a longer period. It changes all the time, left, right and center. It's a crazy thing. Anyway, back to the cars, because that's what we were looking at. It's a very nice lineup of colors, from the blue, red, white, the orange. I think that must be solar orange potentially, to the blue of the new car. And just to see where this lineup has gone from the days of Quattro, these cars now under Audi tradition, through to the relaunch under Audi Sport of the latest brand for the cars. And some of the cars I've been having an awful lot of fun with recently. I've driven a lot of Audi models around the world actually, from the press launches to out in Dubai and various different places. Back to the questions. I've got one here from the_Greenhorn. How does it feel being such a huge influence on the automotive culture, and what has been the biggest reality check for you? I think this is one of the craziest things that I'm still coming to terms with on a regular basis, is how big this has grown across YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the whole platform. And obviously it means I take a lot more seriously what I'm doing, what I say, what I think about cars, the opinions that I'm giving, what I drive, and care an awful lot about making sure that I'm giving you guys the right impression. I think it really starts to matter. I try and be as honest as I can, whether I like something, what I'm enjoying, the experiences, what they're like, because at the end of the day I know that there are an awful lot of you out there watching these videos. There are people who are listening to my opinions and my thoughts, and it's really actually quite humbling to know that that's become the case from my experience, from what I've learned and from what I'm able to translate into words about the opportunities and what these cars are like. To know that people are actually watching and potentially even making car buying decisions and purchases on that is really quite a special feeling, quite warming inside. So I appreciate again your support for that. I think in terms of biggest reality checks, that's quite a hard one. I suppose I plan an awful lot, I think an awful lot, and I do things very much in a way that is thought out and calculated. So I try not to jump head over heels into something that I don't really know what I'm doing. Sometimes it happens when I plan to go and make a video and there's no real plan and it's just a complete chaos, because I'm thinking, how do I do this? Where do I get the thumbnail? How do I get the right shots? Intro, outro, hi guys, I'm Shmi, cheers, all of that. It's all thought about in a strange way that you don't, I think, necessarily think. Sometimes filming, like in the Porsche factory for example, there's other stuff going on that can't be filmed. There's a lot of planning and having to be very careful, because at the end of the day, if I put something out by mistake that the manufacturer hasn't yet launched or that kind of thing, then I could find myself in a spot of bother very quickly. Anyways, I think I've actually rambled on more than long enough. I need to head off now for a plane flight over to my next adventure. The year is not over. I've actually got a couple more trips to go before 2017 comes to an end and we can have the big wrap up and overview of everything that's happened. But I want to say a big thanks to Audi Sport for this amazing drive with the RS4 Avant. Do check it out, and thanks to you guys for firing your questions my way. I'm sorry I haven't been able to answer everything today, but we'll be back with another one before too long. So if you do have any more questions, let me know. Head over to Instagram, pop them in the comments, and we'll be sure to check back through it again next time. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks again as always for watching. I really appreciate your support, guys. It means an awful lot, and I will catch up with you again next time, probably tomorrow at this rate. We haven't missed a day yet this year with another video. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you then. Cheers.